Yo, what's good, fam? Before we get into this one, let me tell you this story's gonna hit different. We're talking about Martha Kane, 58, living way the hell out in the Cascades, where the trees are thicker than traffic in LA, and the nearest neighbor might as well be on another planet. No kids, no drama, just her and the mountain vibes after her husband dipped out early thanks to some bullshit cancer. This is completely made up, but the message? That shit's real about stepping up when the world's throwing curveballs from the shadows. Martha had been holding it down in that little cabin since her man passed 2 years back. It was supposed to be their retirement spot, you know, peaceful as hell. No bills stacking up like unread texts, just chopping wood and tending a garden that grew more weeds than veggies. Back in the day, she was a nurse down in the city, bandaging up fools who got into bar fights or kids with scraped knees. But after losing her husband, she bounced to the woods, trading scrubs for flannel and stethoscopes for a damn axe. Man, she was out here living her best hermit life, radio crackling old country tunes, squirrels her only homies. Respect. Straight up, she wasn't out for the gram or nothing, just surviving on her terms. The locals in the valley town, they loved spinning yarns about the weird shit in those woods. Shadows stretching too long at dusk, howls that echoed like a bad subwoofer, footprints big enough to stomp your whole sneaker collection. One dude at the gas station swore he saw branches snapped clean off, 12 feet up, like some giant was doing pull-ups on the pines. Martha? She wasn't buying it. Mountain gossip, she'd mutter, rolling her eyes while grabbing supplies. She'd hike those trails daily, chop her firewood without a glitch, and never felt that creepy stare. You know, the one where your neck hairs stand up like they're auditioning for a horror flick. Nah, not her. She was too busy keeping her head down, dealing with the quiet ache of being alone. But the universe? It was plotting, fam. Like, bet. Let's test this tough lady with something straight out the Cryptid playbook. Days blurred into each other up there. Wake up with the sun, boil water on the wood stove, read some faded paperback by lantern light when the stars popped out. No Netflix, no scrolling hell. Her phone barely caught a signal unless she climbed a ridge. She'd sit on the porch sometimes, staring at the tree line, thinking about what-ifs. What if her husband hadn't gotten sick? What if they'd had kids to fill the silence? But nah, it was just her, the wind whispering through the evergreens, and the occasional deer dipping through like it owned the place. She chopped wood like a boss, stacking it neat against the cabin wall, muscles still strong from years of lifting patience. Garden time meant yanking carrots that looked more like mutant fingers. But hey, fresh eats beat canned beans any day. Then the strange signs started creeping in, subtle at first, like the woods were testing her vibe. One morning, she stepped out and spotted these massive footprints pressed into the mud by the riverbank big as dinner plates, toes splayed wide like some barefoot giant had strolled through. Bear? Maybe? She thought. But bears don't leave prints that deep without claws digging in. She shrugged it off, blamed the rain for washing shit weird. Couple days later, a branch high up on a fir tree 12 feet, easy snapped clean, dangling like a broken arm. No storm the night before. No wind strong enough to do that. Martha stared up, axe in hand, feeling that prickly sensation for the first time, like eyes on her back. But when she spun around, nothing but trees staring blank. Ain't nobody got time for this, she grumbled, chopping extra hard that day to shake the unease. Nights got a little edgier after that. The howls started rolling in after dusk, not your standard coyote yips, but low, rumbling calls that vibrated through the cabin walls, sounded mournful, almost human but twisted, like someone lost their whole squad in the dark. Martha turned up the radio, blasting Johnny Cash to drown it out, but sleep came fitful. She'd wake up sweating, convinced something was pacing just beyond the light from her lantern. One time, she swore she saw a shadow taller than the doorframe shift between the pine's broad shoulders, hunched like it was carrying the weight of the world. Heart pounding, she grabbed her old shotgun from the closet, but by the time she cracked the door, it was gone. Just mist rolling
Barbed
in,
wire.
leaves rustling soft. Get a grip, girl, she told herself, laughing it off in the morning light. But deep down, that vibe was building, fam. The feeling of being watched, not hunted, but observed. Like the forest had eyes, and they were sizing her up for something big. She kept to her grind, though. Chopped more wood, fixed a leak in the roof with some tar she had stashed, even baked a loaf of bread from scratch, just to feel normal. The garden was popping with late-season berries, and she'd pick 'em while glancing at the tree line, half expecting whatever was out there to show its face. Rumors from town floated back during her rare supply runs, hunters whispering about Sasquatch season, loggers joking about traps they'd set for the big one. Martha dismissed it all with a wave. "Y'all watch too much TV," she'd say, grabbing her flower and heading back up the dirt road. But those footprints? They showed up again, closer to the cabin this time, circling the porch, like someone or something was checking the perimeter. Branches kept breaking high, leaves scattered in patterns that didn't make sense. And that stare, it was constant now, turning her simple life into a low-key thriller. She wasn't scared, not really, just curious, mixed with that street-smart caution. Little did she know, the real test was about to drop like a bomb. The air turned crisp as fall edged in, leaves crunching underfoot, the kind of weather where you bundle up, but still feel alive. Martha was out back one evening, just past dusk, stacking the last of her firewood, sun dipping low, painting the sky orange, like a bad spray tan. That's when she heard it low, mournful sobbing drifting from the tree line. Not human, not even close. Sounded like heartbreak wrapped in fur, echoing soft but piercing. She froze, axe mid-swing, hairs on her arms standing straight. "What the hell?" she muttered, peering into the gathering mist. Out stepped this towering figure, weeping like its world was ending, cradling something limp in massive arms. A mother Bigfoot, straight up tall as a basketball hoop, covered in thick hair, eyes shining with desperation. And in her hold, a baby, wounded bad, barely breathing. Without a word, the mama laid the little one at Martha's feet, locking eyes like she was pleading without sound. I don't know why she picked me, Martha would think later, but damn, in that moment, every cell in her body was screaming, hell no. The baby was curled up tight, matted fur sticky with blood, a deep gash across its side leaking pus like some infection had set up shop. Smelled heavy blood, sweat, rot mixing in the air. Martha's nurse instincts kicked in hard, overriding the fear. This wasn't some monster. This was a kid in trouble, and a mom out of options. The big mama stepped back slow, body shaking with sobs, but no growl, no threat, just trust hanging thick in the mist. Martha knelt down, hands trembling as she reached out. The baby didn't flinch, too weak to even twitch. That wound looked like wire had done it, jagged, swollen red, not claws or rocks. Barbed, maybe, from some trap hidden in the woods. Her stomach twisted thinking about poachers or shady researchers the locals whispered about, setting snares for shit they had no business touching. She glanced up. The mother hummed low, stepping further back like she was giving permission. "All right, let's do this," Martha whispered, wrapping the baby in an old wool blanket from the porch, lifted him careful, surprisingly light for his size, and carried him inside the cabin. Door shut behind her, heart racing like she'd just robbed a bank. The cabin was basic. One room, wood stove crackling, lanterns flickering soft light. She laid the baby on the couch, got to work with what she had. Boiled water on the stove, clean rags from the drawer, dried herbs she'd foraged for her own cuts over the years. A homemade salve too, thick and greasy, good for bruises and infections. She cleaned that wound gentle, packing it with herbs to draw out the poison. The baby whimpered once, a soft, gut-wrenching sound that hit Martha like a punch. Outside, through the window, she spotted the mother crouched just beyond the tree's statue. Still, arms wrapped tight around herself, still weeping quiet. No approaching, just watching, like she knew her kid was in good hands now. All night, Martha stayed up, tending the little one. Kept the fire low for warmth, spoke soft nonsense to fill the silence. You ain't dying here, lil dude. Not on my watch. The fever raged, but his breathing steadied a bit. She wiped his forehead, changed the rags when they soaked through. Humor in the chaos? Man, she caught herself chuckling at one point. Here I am, playing doctor to a damn Sasquatch baby. If the town hears this, they'll think I lost my mind to moonshine. But underneath? Real fear mixed with that pull to help, like her nursing days flooding back. By dawn, the baby was still kicking shallow breaths, but alive. Martha peeked outside. Mama was gone, but a bundle sat on the porch. Roots, moss, bark, like an offering. Message clear, no words needed, just gratitude from the shadows. That first day dragged, baby sleeping heavy while Martha kept vigil. Changed the bandage twice, spooned warm broth near his mouth. He swallowed a dribble, weak but something. Fire crackling, cabin smelling like herbs and earth. Night fell, and Mama returned, staying at the tree line, eyes locked on the window, silent guardian. Next morning, another bundle, berries, leaves. Pattern set, trust building slow through actions, not chat. Martha accepted it, mashing some berries into the broth for extra nutrients. By day 3, the baby's eyes cracked open dark, wide, uncertain. But he drank water when she offered, looking straight at her like he knew she was the plug. Day 4 rolled in slow, mist hanging low like the mountains were smoking a blunt. The baby was showing signs of fight. Sat up a bit with Martha's help, letting out a low grunt when she swapped the bandage. Pain still there, no doubt, but he was pushing through, little dude grinding like a champ. The wound? Swelling down some, herbs doing their thing, pulling out that nasty pus. Martha mashed up those berries from Mama's bundle, mixed them into a paste with the salve nurse mode full throttle. You keep this up, you'll be back to climbing trees in no time, she murmured, half to him, half to herself. Humor hit when he wrinkled his nose at the broth. Picky eater, huh? Like my old patients back in the day, turning up at hospital food. But that moment, real shift. She wasn't just patching him up, she was bonding, feeling that pull she hadn't since caring for her husband in his last days. Outside, the routine held. Mama at the tree line every night, pacing shadows like a worried parent outside the ER. No closer, but eyes locked trust, earned through the quiet, the actions stacking up. Martha left the door cracked sometimes, letting the firelight spill out. A silent we good signal. Day 5. Baby took his first wobbly steps inside the cabin, leaning on the couch like a toddler testing legs. Eyes brighter, fur less matted. He even snatched a berry from her hand, chomping it quick. Martha laughed low. Look at you, acting all tough now. But the wound bugged her more. Up close, it screamed man, made. Jagged edges, hair torn in clumps, straight up barbed wire vibes. Stomach churning, she flashed back to town talk. Poachers slinking through, researchers with cages and traps, hunting legends for labs or trophies. One story stuck a logger, finding a blood-stunk steel trap near Devil's Bluff, empty but wrecked. Nobody believed it then. Martha did now. This wasn't nature's accident. Baby got caught in some human bullshit. And Mama? She was running, choosing Martha as the Hail Mary. The care dragged on, days blending like fog. Martha's routine twisted around him, fire stoked constant for warmth. Bandages changed twice daily, feeding shifted to softer fruits and roots from the bundles. He started humming back sometimes, low rumbles, matching hers when she talked nonsense to fill the air. Bet your mama's out there teaching you all kinds of forest hacks, she'd say, stroking his fur gentle. No words needed, actions spoke volumes. Trust built brick by brick, he let her clean the wound without flinching by day 6, even leaned into her side once, warm and heavy. But danger lurked. Late afternoon, a truck rumbled up the driveway, dusty green. No markings, plate screaming government but shady. 2 dudes hopped out, Forest Service uniforms but off. No patches. Hard stares, like they were casing the joint. Tall one with the buzz cut hit the porch first. "Ma'am, Wildlife Recovery Unit. Reports of a wounded bear cub round here. Seen anything?" Martha played it cool, heart thumping. "No bears, just deer and coons messing with my garden." The other guy circled slow, eyes scanning trees like a hawk. Crouched by the railing, plucked a tuft of dark fur stuck there, gave his buddy a nod. Tall one forced a grin. "Call if you spot something. Could be dangerous." They bounced, but Martha knew game changed. That night, Mama stayed deeper in shadows, pacing uneasy. She smelled the threat, same as Martha. No bundle next morning. Vibe tense as hell. "We gotta speed this up, lil man," Martha whispered, checking the baby's progress. Wound closing, fever broke, he was alert, grunting soft, even mimicking her movements a bit. Strong enough. Barely. But time was ticking. Day 7 hit with urgency. Baby up, and moving more, limping but steady. Martha packed a bag, dried meat, berries, salve, extra rags, wrapped him in wool. Danger vibes heavy. Those dudes would circle back, no doubt. She opened the door pre-dawn, Mama already there, eyes gleaming in the low light. Long stare down, no moves. Then Martha guided the baby out, arms steadying him. He looked back, wide eyes tired but grateful, leaned against her one last time with a soft whimper. She knelt, hugged gentle fur thick, heart beating strong under her hand, whispered something wordless, felt deep. Mama stepped forward, no rush, just that heavy gaze. Gratitude pure, no anger, no fear. Took the baby's hand soft, turned into the woods silent. Martha watched from the porch, chest hollow as trees swallowed them. Gone, just like that. 3 days later, the truck rolled back. No knock, straight intrusion. Dudes poked around. Woodpile, under porch, shed. One slipped inside, eyed the couch, floor, nothing left. Baby and Mama long dipped. They left wordless. Martha didn't wave. Woods quiet, after no footsteps, no sobs, just wind. She slid back to routine, chopping, gardening, radio static. But a week on, something new on the stump, by the trees, a flat stone topped with moss, berries, a feather. Didn't touch it, just nodded. Days later, another, stick tied with grass, figure-shaped. Messages clear they alive, safe, remembering, simple, silent, hitting hard. It was sunrise when she saw him last. Coffee in hand, porch perch like always, air cool, forest still. But that different vibe hit. She looked tree line. There they stood, Mama tall, silent. Baby beside her upright, fur clean, eyes sharp. Strong now, no limp. Martha froze. They didn't budge. Long-ass stare, no sound, just understanding thick as the mist. Baby stepped forward slight, not close, just enough. Let out a low rumble, not growl, a thank you vibrating the air. Lasted a second, but damn, it landed. Turned back, Mama's hand on his shoulder gentle, slipped into woods quiet. Martha lingered, no wave, no tears, just whispered, "Goodbye, baby." Sun climbed. That was it. So what's the lesson here, right? Martha, out there solo after losing her everything, steps up for strangers from the shadows. Compassion over fear, straight up opening that door when every instinct says bolt it. Courage ain't always loud, sometimes it's quiet actions in the dark, building trust where words fail. And love, that shit crosses boundaries, human or not. A mother's desperation, a stranger's kindness universal, no cap. She never had kids, but for that stretch. She mothered something wild, needed, real. People grill her on Bigfoot belief. Nah, she hits back. I believe in a mother's love, and that's as real as it gets. Real talk, this is 100% fiction. But the message about choosing kindness when fear's knocking, that's the realest thing I can tell you. Would you open that door? Drop your thoughts below. Peace.